It's Victory Monday, October 7th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Jet Home Loans. And now, a woman who's not afraid to keep dog food in the refrigerator, TV's Kainani Stevens.
Whatever it takes. Got to keep the pup fed. Thanks, guys. I'm happy to be back for my second straight Happy Hour. And it's Victory Monday. It's so much better on Happy Hour for a Victory Monday. Got a great offensive output put from the team yesterday. Their first win of the season. Coming up today, we're going to keep it real. Of course, we will answer your Fanatic fan questions and a lot of stuff to go over. It was not a perfect win by any means, but it's a lot easier to go over things after a win as opposed to what we have been dealing with. So let me welcome everybody in. CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco, Hall of Famer Tony Boselli is with us today. And it's Victory Monday, guys. How relieved should we be? And is this just the Colts being the Colts, or did the Jaguars do some good things?
Listen, first and foremost, I think you got to give the Jags the credit. I mean, that's an NFL team, and every team has injuries. Now, you could argue they had a bunch. I mean, their best player on offense was out. I think they were better off with their backup quarterback, frankly. And I think they had 5 or 6 defensive starters and some key ones up front, like no Buckner, no Kwity Paye. They also another guy back in camp, Sam Mbanku, or I can't say it.
Yeah, you go ahead. You say it.
No, yeah, you want to say it because it's not in front of me, and so I'm going to butcher it. So I apologize. But with that said, I mean, we have injuries. We're without a starting corner. We're without people too. I mean, that's the NFL, Pete. But I think more than anything, and I want to talk about the offense. Well, we're going to talk about both because the defensive collapse in the fourth quarter, giving up 24 points. Oh my! I mean, we got to talk about that. But overall, the biggest thing that stood out to me, and the reason they won this game, forget about the opponent, is because they made plays when they had to, and they made plays that were there. I mean, you go back to Miami, if they make plays that are there, they win the game probably. If you go back to Houston, I mean, two deep shots. I mean, Trevor hit those this week.
He did. And
he didn't that week. It's probably the difference of winning and losing. I mean, so you can do that every week. And people all the time says, "Oh, we should be, 4-1." I'm like, okay, that's how losing organizations talk. Like, start talking about if we did this.
Or coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, you didn't, so let's not worry about that. But let's also celebrate what you did this week, which is play really good football, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
And I think, Tony, you mentioned this is the offense we were hoping to see, right? We were going to the season seeing all these weapons, kind of hoping Trevor could make that jump and find all of them, and then the running game.
But I'll say this. Yes, I agree with you, Kai. But the reality is the reason they were productive, in my opinion, because I thought they were productive against Houston. I mean, the quarterback, Trevor, just didn't play well. And he played outstanding on Sunday. But the big key is, and Pete, I don't know if you agree with me or not, the offensive line, back-to-back weeks, played outstanding football. And
yep.
I'm the biggest O-line apologist because I think it's the most important. Once you have a quarterback, there's nothing more important on a team than establishing an offensive line that can set the tone for the entire team. And I thought they played just not good football for 3 weeks. As a unit, we can break down each individual. Actually, we're not going to do that. It is what it is. The last 2 weeks, they played really good football. Now, they have moments, like every offensive line has moments during a game where you wish it was cleaner in certain places and everything else. But overall, you go watch the last 2 weeks, and especially Indy, they were dang right dominant at times and physical and pushing people and getting to the next level. And, Pete, I was critical of this group. I said looks like they bought a ticket on certain plays of watching. Not one time in that Indy game did I feel like guys were stopping before the whistle. I mean,
there were a couple.
Not
Cam Robinson did it on a run and play, and his man came down and made the play. Anton Harrison did it on a run and play, and his guy came down and made the play.
I'm going to say how about this?
It's that finish that you like. You always talk about backside, on the backside particularly. If they hold those just for a little bit longer, then the runner gets up the field and that guy doesn't come down and make the tackle. So there were a couple, but it was better.
I'll give you. So it always can improve. It's never perfect. It's never as good as you thought it was when you go watch the tape, and it's never as bad as you thought it was, except for the rare instances on both sides. I thought, watching the tape this morning, they played winning football, and they played outstanding football. One pressure. Now, it's not a great pass rush group, but I don't care. One pressure?
In today's football.
That's a great job. That's an outstanding job. You go look at
the rookie from UCLA had been getting pressure.
And he did not. He got nothing. He got nothing.
Right.
And then if you watch the run game, like my only criticism, the way Tank's going, you got to give more than 10 carries or 11 carries, whatever he 12, whatever he had. Like, let's feed the rock to him some more. Because the way he's running and the way that offensive line blocked the last 2 weeks, it's really fun to watch. So kudos to the group because, listen, at 0-4 and all the noise, if you go back to last week, we had reports of Doug losing the locker room, which every player said is ridiculous. You had questions of what's going on and, pointing fingers and, this group and that group and all the noise. Fire this guy, fire them. I mean, it was the fire fest last week, if you read, were on X. And in those situations, you find out what kind of team you have, I think. I really believe, and what kind of locker room you have. And I give those guys a ton of credit, starting with Doug and his entire staff and all those guys in that locker room, because it's the easy button is just to check out and just think about yourself and do whatever is best for you as an individual. The hard thing is digging in and saying, hey, this is a long season. No one thinks we can do it. We do. Let's play the type of football we believe we can. Let's continue to get better each week. And that's what they did. And it was a great offensive performance. And I'll say this, it was a really good defensive performance for 3 quarters.
Yeah, it kind of went away at the end of the game.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Let me get to the elephant in the room, and that's the quarterback. The quarterback looked different. And I know we can talk about the offensive line because I agree with you. They played well. But the quarterback tightened up a lot of things. And I went back and watched last week's game and compared it to this week's game. The motion was quicker. The long stride was shorter. I think he got back to his basics. And when you see the ball coming off his hand, it came off differently. The shot down the field, that was an effortless, easy throw. And it wasn't a long stride. He was clean in the pocket. And I went back and I compared it, and I don't know if you saw, I sent them out to the throw last week where he was long striding and his feet weren't facing the right direction. I think he went back to his basics. And Tony, we talked about this a lot last week. The kid was playing robotic football. He really was. And the more I thought about it, I didn't even say this last week, but the more I thought about it, all they preached into him last year was don't turn it over, don't turn it over, don't turn it over, don't turn it over. Well, he only turned it over one time in those 4 losses. So mission accomplished, but he wasn't playing quarterback. He's playing robotic football.
Think he was playing it too safe?
Yes,
that's exactly what it was.
Pete, I'm going to take a little bit different position on this. I'm not saying you're wrong, and because I didn't study and compare the footwork and everything week to week. So I trust Pete's eyes and he does his work watching film. I think one of the reasons I think also the coaching staff handled it the right way in game planning this week. If you go watch the first quarter, every throw was a check down or a quick stick route underneath. And I think it goes back to what we talked about last week on the show, the 3 of us, about almost like a 3-point shooter who can't hit the broadside of a barn. Hey, let's get some layups. Let's see the ball go through the net. And I think what they were saying, I think they simplified it. And basically, I don't know this for sure, but watching the tape is like, if the first guy's not there, check it down. First guy, check it down. Just like, let's get completions. And then give those backs and tight ends and the receivers a ton of credit, because what they did is had some really nice run after the catches where they broke tackles and turned 3 to 4 yard gains into 7 and 8s. And I think
but Tony, even those throws to the sideline came out differently.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying I like what they did. They didn't come out saying we're going to just open it up, take shots, and go for it. Like, we're going to give him some easy throws. And then as you watch the game progress, now all of a sudden you start getting those shots. And all of a sudden he's comfortable and he's got his confidence and he's seeing it and he's feeling it. and he's being smart with the football. I mean, outside the one, which I just think he was convinced Thomas Jr. was going to just win no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there were 3 guys there.
I know. It was a terrible decision. He had Kirk open up late. But at least, listen, that's going to happen.
Yeah, but there should have been a penalty for the linebacker got his hands on
Kirk. Yeah, they
knocked him off his route.
Yep.
But once Kirk got up,
he was wide open.
He should have thrown to Kirk.
He should have.
That's where he should have went. On that one, he predetermined where he was going with the football. That was a pre-snap, predetermined, and he does that sometimes. You can't do that.
Every quarterback that does that sometimes. Every quarterback wants to take a shot. They got their guy running the route they like, and they just think it's going to be there, and they make their mind up. That happens, unfortunately.
When he threw that ball, we were watching on TV, and I said, and I couldn't see it on the thing, but I said, I guarantee he has somebody underneath wide open. Because usually when there's 3 guys around, somebody on those plays is open in a minute. And then when I watched the tape today, I said, well, there's Kirk in the middle of the field. But there should have been a penalty.
There should have been.
And they didn't call that. Tony, the one thing I give them credit for, they ran the slot fade to the big fella for the long get. That was different.
Let me tell you one thing. You better not sit even for a half a second on Brian Thomas Jr.
He'll be by you.
Because that kid, and the funny thing, watching it from the booth, as soon as he caught it, I'm like,
done.
Gone. There's nobody on that field catching Brian Thomas Jr. It's just not going to happen.
And
it's
still this guy just in air trying to dive for his feet.
It was great. It was awesome. I loved it.
They cut that kid today, the Colts, by the way.
Did they?
Bad week.
Yeah.
Well, he probably should, because I know the coverage because being with Gus, I know exactly what coverage that was, and he's not supposed to sit. He's supposed to be over the top.
That's what Brian said. He looked and he's like, oh, did Trevor already throw it? Like, why is he doing that? And he's like, oh, no.
Yeah,
and then
he's not supposed to sit. He's supposed to be over the top in that coverage. And give Trevor credit.
The corner you're talking.
The corners, the outside corners, it's a combo. Yeah. And if number 2 goes vertical, that outside corner's got to be over the top. And he sat. And you just can't do that.
I don't know what he was sitting on the shorter route.
But the underneath the inside corner is the flat player.
Correct.
It's a combination cover 2. They change it up, and that corner is supposed to it's try to trap the offense.
Right.
That corner is supposed to sit in the flat, and he has that underneath route, which they're happy to let you throw. Go throw that 4 or 5 yard pass. That's fine.
Right.
That outside corner is supposed to be over the top.
Right.
Because that's the play that will hurt you.
And so you're trying to trap them.
It's what it is. It's a variation of cover 2. You just switch it up.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. And so, but listen, offensively, Trevor was great. Tank Bigsby
had a day.
Not just a day. He had a day. He has played
season.
Well all year. He played great in the preseason. He had a great camp. And I got a lot of heat at the beginning of the year when I said that I thought Tank Bigsby was the best pure running back. And everyone thought I was taking a shot at Travis. I think I love Travis on our team. And Travis can do so much in the passing game, and he gets in space, and he's explosive. But as a pure running back between the tackles, Tank has a physicality and the ability to cut in the hole and be patient that I just think is unique. And I would be giving him the ball more. Now, he got lucky on the first touchdown.
He got pushed in.
No. The ball comes loose before he comes in, and that ball bounced right back to him. And that could easily, as it was sitting on the turf, been picked up by anyone else. Now, it would have been reviewed because it's really close whether he crossed or not. Mm-hmm. But I watched the replay, and that ball's moving, and he's trying to secure it before he crosses. Now, what they would have called, who knows? But I think the only thing...
He fell on it, though, so it
didn't matter. My point is, Pete, that thing was sitting in the end zone by itself for a little bit. Yeah. And if the Colts would have fallen on it, it would have been a disaster. Let
me say something about him real quick, okay? Somebody put on Twitter, he reminded me of somebody. Stop. He does not remind you of him. I know you love
that comparison, Pete.
It does not remind him of him. Please.
Unless he's 230 and runs 4.29 and
he isn't.
And can jump cut 2 gaps at one time.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
Not
Don't
easily
compare him
impressed.
to a guy who should be in Canton. That's not fair to the guy in Canton.
And it's
And
not fair to the kid either.
Yeah, there's a couple runs that I will be a little technically critical on for him, and you know which one I'm talking about, where he should have just kept going straight.
Yes.
He tried to pop it to the side.
He'll learn.
And then there was a run late in the game where if he just hits it right up next to the guard, instead of pop it to the outside, he gets about 4 or 5 yards instead of none.
But here's the thing, Pete. But here's the thing with that. He's a young back still. This is really his first opportunity to see it. And I remember, because I was on the team when he was a rookie, the greatest running back in the history of this franchise, and I agree with Pete, should be in the Hall of Fame, Fred Taylor. And there were times when Fred would try to do too much because he had the ability to do anything he wanted.
So he's like, let me try this out.
And if you watched him progress as he matured as a running back, there was nobody better than finding the hole and getting north and south and finishing runs. And so that's just reps. And that's just, him doing it more and more. And this is what I always want to remind everyone. Rarely, if ever, is an individual going to play a perfect football game. There's always, when you watch the tape,
something that can be improved.
Something you can get better at. I played a lot of football from high school to college in the pros. Never once in my entire life have I played a game and watched the tape and said, that was perfect. There wasn't one play I could have done better. It just does not work that way. Especially the higher.
And I'm being nitpicky.
No, I know you are. And I'm not saying you're wrong, Pete. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I know. The kid has improved greatly.
Oh.
He also looks like he's leaner, by the way.
I didn't know he was that fast. Did you know he was that fast?
I think he's leaned up from a year ago, and I think that shows in the way he runs a little bit.
Like,
he looks leaner.
When he got in the open field against India, I'm like, he'll get caught. Someone will catch him, one of those DBs. And he just started pulling away from people.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Does anyone know what he ran in the 40 at the combine?
I'll find out.
Yeah,
I'll find out.
We'll check in the break, which we're going to go to break real quick.
Back to why'd you draft a guy in the first round?
Okay, we're not going to talk about that today.
All right. Jags fans, if you want customized Jaguars furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com to browse all the customizable options. Zipchair is furniture for fans. Coming up, we're going to talk all about the first win of the season for the Jaguars. This is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
Jacksonville builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtimes. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
If you're facing cancer, you want a dedicated team working for you. At Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center, We only focus on cancer. And we partner with one of the largest cancer centers in the world. So you'll have a specialized treatment plan created by our experienced and highly trained oncologists and surgeons, collaborating with one of the country's leading cancer centers. Best of all, we're in North Florida with locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Appointments at baptistmdanderson.com.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elase, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit elase.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
Hunkering down and not looking or listening to anything, honestly. And I'm going to continue to do that even when you have a good game. I mean, this stuff doesn't matter. You know, you can't listen to the good or the bad. So I do think stuff that does get through, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions, like what's going on with the Jags, what's this, what's that, after 4 weeks. And good, you know, we'll use that as a chip on our shoulder and have that us against the world mentality and bring us closer together. And I think that's what good teams do. So, but I also think you don't want to let that stuff creep in, because it's really about the guys in that building and the work we put in. And, you know, I'm just proud of the group. It was a great day.
Back here on Jaguars Happy Hour on Victory Monday, brought to you by PRI Productions. The Southeast full-service event company has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com to learn more. That's your quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, says he's not listening to outside noise. Pete, you felt like he played a really complete game yesterday, and obviously we talked a little bit about just his confidence not being there. Do you think he's back on track?
I do. I do. And again, you know, the weapons help. The protection really helped. But I just saw a different guy out there. The way he threw the ball, the way the ball came off his hand, the mechanics were better. When you have a tendency as a long strider, the ball goes high. That's usually the way it is. And I think he tightened it up a little bit, and the ball was more accurate. And I think that's the biggest thing. He made it. The throw he made to Thomas is a 7-on-7 throw that any NFL quarterback should make. But he made it easy. That was an easy flick of the wrist, ball there, boom, gone, play over. And I think that's been the difference with him this year. Nothing has looked easy. It hasn't looked easy at all. Not the entire season. And so I think this is the first time where it actually looked like he was playing free, loose, comfortable, and he made it look easy. And I think that's the biggest difference between the early games and this one.
I love that he says he doesn't listen to anything. That'd be my advice to any.
He's also lying.
Well,
it's
I don't
hard
know.
to do at this age.
I'll
in this
say
day and
this.
age.
If I could tell my younger self, especially in this age, like, don't even have social media. Like, don't even look at the paper. Don't look at anything. Like, just be oblivious.
You would have never done that.
I would have tried, Pete.
You kidding
Walk
me?
around
This
with your
guy-
head in the clouds?
he
I
complained
doubt it.
Every little thing that I wrote about the whole team in the offensive line.
I didn't say I did a good job with it. That'd be my advice to a younger Tony Boselli. And also,
You could have given yourself that advice. Knowing
Never would have
you the
taken
way
it.
I knew you, there's no way that would ever.
you don't think I could pull that off, Pete?
Like me saying that I would never listen to what guys said about me. Come on.
One side note, and we don't have to dive into this too much. I sure appreciate how Trevor handles himself at the podium.
Yes.
I just really do. And since he doesn't listen to anything, he won't hear this, but I appreciate it. I really, like, good, bad, and different. He shows up. He answers questions. He's respectful. It's not easy, especially after what he's been through the first 4 weeks. He hasn't played the way he wanted to. Team hasn't played to the expectations. People questioning. He hears, even if he doesn't read it, he hears the noise. And it just doesn't, he doesn't allow it to impact how he communicates to the fans, which is through the media. And I appreciate that. And that's not easy. And all joking aside, Pete's probably right. There's no chance in, you know what, I would not read stuff. And I got And Pete will tell you, I got crusty with the media at times when it was going bad.
No.
It's shocking. I know, Kai, it shocks you. And sometimes that's fine. I'm not saying it's wrong to get crusty with the media sometimes. But I just, like, as the quarterback, it's hard because everything's on you. It was much easier as an offensive lineman than the quarterback. So I appreciate that. The second thing I would say is, and Pete, I've been a believer that Trevor's going to win Super Bowls here at 0-4. I believe that. I mean, he's our guy. And I hope Pete is right that this was a turning point. He's going to be tested next week against the Bears.
That defense.
That is a really good defense. And Eberflus is a very good defensive coordinator. And that's a good front seven. That line's going to be tested. Mm-hmm. And I think they're up to it. And Trevor's going to be tested. And so this is going to be a good next step. I'm glad we had the success we did. So there's confidence going into that game. Because this is gonna look ugly at times. And that's okay. NFL games are ugly at times. Because when you play really good teams with really good players, it's not always perfect. And this is why I go back to for the offensive line, where finishing is so important. Because if you have that finishing attitude, and not just offensive line, but the whole team, sometimes ugly turns into points and turns into victories. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time. But just that physicality and that finish and that attitude sometimes will just produce the success you need. And especially our offense against this defense coming up, and we're not going to dive too much into the Bears because we got plenty. And I want to talk about this defense, our defense. That's a good defensive side of the football, and it's an ascending offense. If you look at the last 2 weeks, what they've done. Mm-hmm. Now, you can question the opponents and everything else.
Yeah, the opponents haven't been very good.
I agree with that, Pete, but people could say the same thing about what we just did against the Colts.
That's true.
No difference.
That's true, but they're not the Colts aren't as bad as the Carolina Panthers, though.
On defense, you could argue right now with the injuries, it might not be much of a difference.
No Derek Brown.
No Derek Brown, who's their best player.
Yeah, look.
I'm just saying.
Before we get to the Bears, I want to say something about Trevor real quick. And you touched on something I think is – the guy handles himself like a pro when he comes to the podium, in large part because he was forced to as a rookie. Remember, he was the face of the franchise.
Well, we had a head coach who couldn't get out of his own way. So
right, the head coach wouldn't answer the question, so he put the quarterback up there every single week. And so I wanted to say something about that. But here's the number 2 part of that, Tony. Pretty soon, that's all you're going to get from these players.
Well, I know they're changing the locker room rules, which I read that article.
It's ridiculous.
I read that article, and I said Pete Prisco right now is cursing
Furious.
the PA. Just cursing him.
It makes no sense to me.
Well, I don't want to dive into PA stuff. Let's talk about the
but I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying.
It's sad to the players because you might not get to know these guys anymore the way you used to be able to get to know guys, and I think that hurts them to the fans. And I think we're always a conduit to the fans. So I think we're a conduit to the fans.
Pete, I agree with you. You know I do. Because I thought the relationship with the media, number one, I enjoyed the back and forth. We had great beat writers like Pete and John Osher and columnists like Mike Bianchi and Fournette. I mean, we had a good time.
Oh, you just did want to say, for those that don't know what we're talking about, the NFLPA put out a notice that they don't want the media in the locker room during the week. It doesn't apply to post game, so it's just during the week, hang out. That's how you kind of talk to players, build that relationship.
They want everything from the podium, basically.
They want everything from the podium. I think it was like that in 2020, so they kind of want to go back to that. And so basically you can go in, but you have to ask a player, and if they want to go outside to talk to you, that's where they will talk to you instead of in the locker room.
And I think what the PA, to take the PA side, they're saying the locker room should be for players only, which I get. The second thing is I think they look at social media, and they feel like that is becoming a major conduit to the fans.
And they can communicate themselves.
And they can communicate what they want to communicate to the fans. Now, that's all being true. I still think you lose something because you get information, you get a perspective that's different from the media, and especially those local beat writers. I really always appreciated back when I played, those guys, Pete, they worked like dogs. And sometimes I wanted to kick them. And
I'm sure you did.
And some guys actually tried.
And some guys did. I did not. But
no, you did not.
But I appreciated the back and forth with the media back then, and ended up becoming pretty good friends with a lot of them. Pete's one of my good friends. So
But here's my problem with it, okay? And I know we're getting off track here, but I just think it needs to be said because I think it's not great for the fans. Okay, social media is there. Guys can send out their whole message, right? There's no doubt about it. One of the things that I always prided myself on, and you will attest to this because you know, if I wrote something that was controversial, I showed up the next day.
No, you did.
And I took my heat. And I didn't mind taking the heat. Now, we had some guys, Mike Bianchi, who always wrote something and said, I'm not going there on Monday after the game. And I go, you're going.
He would disappear.
Yeah, I go, you're going. And I tried to talk him into going, and he wouldn't go. And I think that's a terrible thing. But that's what's going to happen. That's where they're headed. If we're covering the Jaguars and there's no locker room access, and the only way I can get to a player is I request him, and he comes outside and talks to me, well, what about when I write something critical of the team or the organization or whatever? I can't go in the locker room and face my music. So I'm going to become a hit and run guy.
Yeah, no accountability.
Right. And so I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a great perspective, Pete. I didn't think of that, but I think you're right. Let's come back. When we come back, Kai, let's talk about the defense because
absolutely,
as big of a story that the offense was, that they've showed up and they executed and they played well and they were explosive and put points on the board at a high rate. It was a defense that almost felt like it forgot how to play the last quarter. I mean, it gave up 10 points in 3 quarters, 7 on the first drive, and then locked it down. And then gave up 20.
And that was a fourth down conversion for the touchdown.
That's right. And then gave up 24 in the fourth. That's a problem.
Back there.
That's a problem.
Lots to go over. All right, sign up your furry friend for the Jaguars official 4-legged fan club for pets presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your pet will receive access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the 2024 season. Visit jaguars.com/promotion/4-legged fan club to sign up today. Coming up on Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans, we will talk more about the defense, what happened in the fourth quarter, and what they're going to do going forward.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
You love free, and at Ameris Bank, so do we. That's why we're proud to offer worry-free, hassle-free Ameris Bank free checking. Manage your money your way with convenient access to digital, mobile, and telephone banking, all with no monthly service fee or minimum balance requirements. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. For more information or to open an account, visit our local bankers in person or online at amerisbank.com/free checking. Other fees such as overdraft fees may apply. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
He was big. It was good to see him, take this step forward. He and the D-line have been really close to getting to the quarterbacks here in these first, month of the season, and I'm proud of those guys for the way they've stuck together and continue to work.
Head coach Doug Peterson talking about Travon Walker, the day he had yesterday. Welcome back to Happy Hour. I'm Kainani Stevens. Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco with us here today, and let's talk a little bit about that defense because some players played well, but there were issues, and I say specifically in the fourth quarter, Tony, you mentioned, I do the post-game interview, I went out there, they're up 2 touchdowns, I was like, oh, it's fine, and then all of a sudden the game's tied, and I'm like, oh, never mind.
My wife left early. My wife and daughter and son all left early.
Missed all the fun.
And I'm driving home, and I'm like, where are you? And they're already home. I'm like, oh, she's like, we just left it was over. Like, what do you mean? When'd you leave? She goes, we were 14. It was like 5 minutes left. I'm like, the whole game happened in the last 5 minutes. Let's start with Trayvon, and then we'll get into the fourth quarter. Let's start positive. The third sack was just terrible execution by the Colts of what they were trying to do. They were trying to get Flacco outside so he could throw a bomb, and Trayvon did the smart thing. He just ran inside, and no one touched him.
I got it.
Yeah, so take that.
Yeah, that's the end of the game.
Yeah, take that off. But he had
another one.
He had some really nice rushes, and I think part of it is Trayvon is who Trayvon is. Trayvon is not going to be get on your edge, swat the hand, spin, whatever. He is going to be a speed and then power you, impress you to the quarterback, and come off and get on an edge. And I think what he did to that to Braden Smith, the right tackle, who's a good player. I mean, he hammered him with power early, and Trayvon's a strong guy, and got Braden worried about the power and started leaning, where now he could go to work. And I thought the biggest play of the game, looking back, was the sack fumble at the end of the first half.
Huge.
I thought that was the biggest play because the Colts were getting ready to go. We
had just turned it up.
We had just turned over. Gabe Davis with the fumble. They have it and get a first down. Now they're near midfield, probably plenty of time. They had timeouts. They could have got a couple more plays and gotten field goal range. And now all of a sudden we're down 13-10 going to halftime. And all of a sudden, you look up. I was on the field because I was getting ready to do Tom's and Coughlin's induction, and you see Trayvon get the strap, the sack strip. Josh picks it up. Cam Little's walking out to the field. 13-10, we're up. It's a 6-point swing, and the game ended up being a 3-point game.
Well, but if they got 3, it's a 6-point swing.
Well, I think they would have. Is my point. I mean, 2 first downs, Pete, and they, you know. But let's just say a 3-point swing. Fine. Ended up being a 3-point game. But more than the end result, because a lot of things happened the last 5 minutes, which we're about to talk about. It was the momentum and the feeling going into halftime.
Yes, and that's the opposite of what we have been feeling.
It was the opposite. And knowing you're getting the ball back and knowing hey, we just made a play when we had to, and defense. And there was energy in the whole building. And there was energy in that locker room. I just thought that was it was a great rush by Trayvon. It was good to see him get going because I think, people have been critical and he hasn't been getting a lot of pressure and everything else. And they look at PFF and win rate and all this different stuff. Bottom line is he played a heck of a game. He's been very good against the run all year. He's very physical. And if he can get that pass rush going like he did on Sunday, it's going to be huge because now you have both sides collapsing. And if you watch Flacco for a lot of that game after the first drive, the pocket was getting squeezed by both Josh and Trayvon, which was nice to see.
Yeah, if they only had a little pressure into the middle.
That's still a struggle, the internal pressure.
Yeah. Look, Trayvon Walker the problem is he's being compared to Aiden Hutchinson. That's the problem.
Because
he's a
And he
good
will
football.
forever be
He's a
linked,
good
yes.
football player. He's a good football player, and if you look at his sack numbers are impressive, and that was a good performance. I mean, on the one sack did Hines Allen get credited with the one sack? I think he did.
Yeah, but Trayvon ran him into it kind of.
Well,
too.
what happened there is Trayvon is inside. He's actually getting pushed down by Braden Smith, so he wouldn't have got the sack, but he made Flacco move enough, and Josh had a really nice power rush on the other side, and as soon as Flacco moved a foot to get out of the way of Trayvon, there's Josh making the sack. So it was really good complementary football by both guys.
Yeah, but that's why he gets compared to Hutchinson. That's the biggest part of the problem.
Well, but that's the way it's going to be, Pete, because this organization had an opportunity to pick Travon Walker or Aiden Hutchinson as the first overall pick. And Aiden Hutchinson, going into last week at least, or this week, yeah, probably still because they had a bye, I believe had the highest win percentage.
It does. And he has the most pressures in the league.
The most pressures, highest win percentage, and like 6.5 sacks after 4 games.
And they didn't play this week.
They didn't play this week, right. And so that is what it is. In my message, because, listen, I got friends and on text messages, and, boy, they like to wear out that point a lot. My point is like, okay, that's the past.
That will never change.
It's never changing. So Trayvon Walker is our defensive end. And let me tell you what I know about Trayvon Walker. He's a supreme athlete who's really physical and disruptive. Every game I've watched him in the run. He is a guy who can power rush you and make it very uncomfortable for offensive tackles and push the pocket. Would I like him to take his rush game up a level to have more consistent wins and more pressure? Absolutely. But right now, where he's at as a player is really good on first and second down. Physical, like not many tight ends are going to block Trayvon Walker.
Not by themselves.
Not by themselves. He beats up offensive tackles a lot of times in the run game. He just needs to continue to improve his pass rush to be more consistent.
Yeah,
but
but Tony, there were flashes of that Sunday where, like you said, he was going smack dab with his power, and then he started getting
because then he would still power, but then he'd get on an edge, turn the shoulder, get upfield, squeeze the corner. He had some nice inside moves, but they're all like he is a power rusher. He's never going to be Aiden Hutchinson, who does arm slaps and spins and rips and everything else, and then occasionally powers.
Well, they technically have 2 power rushers.
And Josh Allen's a power rusher.
Correct.
But let me tell you what, Aiden Hutchinson will never be the run defender that Trayvon Walker is.
No.
And so, stop comparing them. Because
they're always going to be compared.
My point is, it's okay, fans do that. I'm saying when we talk about him, I think the focus on the development and what he does and what he brings to this team, and you saw that firsthand on Sunday. When he is playing and has a good rush plan, and especially against tackles who struggle with any type of power, he is going to be really effective. Now, is he going to struggle more when you get a big right tackle who's good against power? Yes.
Hey, we go back to that play real quick. They took over with, 6 seconds left?
5.
But they kicked the field goal right away.
Yeah,
and then they ended up
because
they had to kick off.
Yeah, because Pete, they were at. I think they were at the 25 where it ended up. We'll see right here. So
Josh went down, thank goodness, because I was like, he's not going to make it, and if he runs out this clock, then they're not even have time to kick.
He got to the 10. I don't think I would have taken a shot at the end zone.
Not enough time.
No, but did they end up kicking off?
Yeah,
I forgot.
They did kick off, and they took a knee.
Okay. They kicked off. Jacksonville kicked off.
Yeah, they kicked off
through the end zone, right?
Only 1 second somehow ran off.
Okay, but they had the timeout. So if you were going to kick the field goal, why didn't you take a knee with 3 seconds, call timeout, and then kick? You didn't have to kick off.
Yeah, you could have done that. I think.
Yeah, I'm a stickler for game management, and you don't. Why even subject yourself to having to kick off when you didn't need to? They had 2 timeouts. So take the snap, take a knee, kick the play on the very last play of the half. Because there's no way if that snap got away, you could go get it and call timeout and kick it on. You know what I'm saying?
No. Would you have taken a shot 5 seconds, like a quick slant to the end zone?
Not enough time.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
I would not have either.
No, but I would have taken I would have taken the knee with 3 seconds and then kicked it on the final play, so I didn't have to kick off. Let's just say in that scenario, if he kicked off, it didn't make it to the end zone, and they returned it for a touchdown.
Have you watched Cam Little? He can kick it in the first row if he wants to.
Why even Okay, say he pulls his hamstring on the kickoff then. I mean, why even let it become a factor?
Pete, I actually get your point. I just don't care enough to engage you in that conversation right now. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Dang.
Hey, Kai, you know what that means? He agrees with me, and he doesn't want to
admit it.
Okay, we got to come back because we still haven't gotten to the fourth quarter because I thought this game was over when we had a 2-possession lead, and all of a sudden, Joe Flacco is throwing bombs to whatever 14's Pierce, and just
who can run,
torturing us, just like a complete torch job. This guy didn't have a target until the last 2 drives, and he has 3 for like 150 at the end. I'm like, what the heck happened?
All right, looking for the MVP of the truck game? Better check out the 2024 Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and game-changing tech, you can dominate work, play, and everything in between. Test drive an F-150 at your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coming up, we will finally talk about that defensive collapse, what happened, and what they're going to try to do to fix it.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinder's home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinder's home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Tackle your marketing needs with Kessler Creative. Providing direct mail services for more than a decade, Kessler has a wide range of services from small mailers to large banners and signs. Draft Kessler as your first pick to receive the best targeted mail list. Elevate your business and be on the winning team with Kessler Creative. Kessler Creative, results-driven marketing and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, Power Boost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Chelsea here. Another month and another high utility bill. Those old windows and doors might be the culprit, letting valuable energy escape. At Renewal by Andersen, our energy-efficient windows and doors have the latest advanced technology, keeping your home comfortable all year round. Renewal by Andersen has a limited-time offer. Buy 4 windows and/or patio doors and get the 5th one free. Plus, enjoy 0 money down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Some restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for all the details. License number CGC 1527613.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Welcome back into Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans. I'm Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrick today. He already left for the UK. We'll see him back next week. Tony Boselli and Pete Prisco are with me. We've been talking about this defense, so let's finally get to it. Jaguars have a 14-point lead. Thought things were locked up. Couple of minutes left to play in the fourth, and they were far from that. Colts able to tie things up relatively quickly. What was going on with the secondary?
Well, if you go back even one drive before, we were fortunate that Flacco overthrew Mo Ali Cox.
Because he was open on
He
that
was
as
open
well.
on that as well. Now, that was just a good route and maybe a little push-off by him. But you're up 14, and I believe it was up 14 with 6 minutes left to go in the game. And at that point, like, you can't let anything behind you. Like, you just, like, nothing can get behind you. And it starts with a acrobatic play by Pierce, the one-handed. And that, okay, fine. Good coverage by Monteric Brown. But then they come right back. They come right back to him with the deep shot.
I don't know what those underneath guys were doing.
Right here. Look at this. Like, what are we doing? How do you let him get behind?
That looks like it was on Cisco.
But I also think if you're Monteric Brown, don't you have to play over the top, Pete? I mean, like,
yeah, but
like,
he let him get. He got no hands on him at the line of scrimmage. That was a problem. And then when he ran by him,
like, I don't know why he's not bailing and just saying, if you want to catch a 15-yard comeback, be my guest.
But if you go back and look at the overhead on that, I think if I remember watching that play, Cisco kind of looks into the middle and hesitates for a second before he gets over the top on that.
I don't know what it is, but it was bad. And then you have the over route.
Yeah, then
we go 3 and out, so now it's a 7-point game. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Here we go again.
Here we go.
Yep.
And then they get an over route to Pierce. And, like, I don't know what the backside corner or safety's doing.
Well, he's jumping. You can see him jump.
I understand that, but if it's cover 2, you don't jump it. You're in the back half. I don't know what covers you're in, or if it's a cover 3 and the safety's supposed to be deep, because if
you know what it looked like, Tony? It looked like, watch it. It looks like he's a robber.
That's what I'm saying. So that means it has to be 3, because look.
Right. So he's got to.
Because the other side's playing 3.
Gastro.
Right. It looks like 3 with a robber, and. So that's not on Cisco. That's on the other split safety, or the corner has to carry.
No, it's the other corner. The other corner has to carry him. What's he doing?
Yeah.
He's got a deep third. I don't know.
Who was that, Darby?
I don't know who it was. We're making up.
Can we run that again? Can we run that again? We could with the arrow on it. You can see who it is.
In fairness, Pete, we're kind of making up what coverages we think it is.
No, you can see it. It is a 3 because the safeties they open as split safeties and they look like they rob him down.
They drop it down. I think it's 3, but I don't know. Maybe it was man. Maybe on this side, Monteric Brown's supposed to carry him all the way. Maybe it's man. I have no idea.
Well, let's see how he plays it. That is a man.
Well, the other guy's playing man.
So somebody's wrong, but who is it?
I don't know who's wrong.
Well, it's not. It's the way Monteric Brown played that. That's not. It's not.
It looks like 3 to me.
Yeah, it looks like 3, and it looks like the corner on the other side is supposed to get depth and play that.
But here's my problem. Up 14 with 6 minutes left. Is that am I doing the math right, or is it 4:42? I can remember the clock twice, but anyways.
I think it was under 5.
Yeah, I think it was under 5. I think it was 4:42. Like at that point, you don't get, Pete, you know this. Nothing gets over the top. You call a defense and you tell your guys, keep everything in front of us. Like make them take 5 or 6 plays if they're going to score. Like make them use clock. And it was like one shot after another. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I mean,
the look on Ryan Nielsen's face, they put the camera on him. Oh my God, he looked like he was shell shocked. It was unbelievable. He had
we all were.
No answer.
You should have. I'm glad they didn't put the camera on me. Because I was like, what are we doing?
I guarantee you everybody in that stadium was saying, here they go again. Guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't think in the back of my head, I'm like, what are we doing? We cannot give this away. We've played too well. Now, give the offense credit because they tied up with 2:20 left. And Trevor got the ball and said, okay. And they didn't blink. They worked right down the field. They used the clock effectively. They forced Shane Steichen.
Hit a good throw against the blitz.
They forced Shane Steichen to start using his timeouts.
Got that big run to get ahead of it, too.
It was great.
You know what's amazing, though? How long was that field goal? What was it?
49.
49. Years ago, they would have never just ran it 3 times and settled for the 49-yarder, but these kickers are unreal nowadays.
That's like a 35-yarder when I played, Pete.
It started raining again at this point too.
It didn't matter. It was like
He was
there's
fine.
no doubt. It was like I watched him walk on the field. Like he was calm. He wasn't worried.
He's the best 15-year-old kicker I've ever seen.
Is he that?
He's great on
looks like
JV.
he's
When does he turn 15?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Sweet
incredible.
16 coming up.
I mean, he is.
And
He's a weapon.
I mean, he nailed that. That was 49 yards, and it could have been good from 60.
Oh, easy.
And yeah, and so that's why you play that differently nowadays. Tony, back in the day, you would have never run it 3 times and just settled for. I don't think you would have just.
No,
settled
you
for
tried to
50
get.
yards.
You would have tried to get Hall since. I mean, Hall's made some 50-plus field goals, a lot of them. But you were still trying to get it inside 40, I would say.
Yeah. Nowadays, these guys are amazing. So
Just get it inside
worked
50.
out. It worked out in the end, but boy, they made it interesting in the final 5 minutes.
But defensively, the two things that I worry about with our defense, because if you look at the first 4 games, they didn't give very many points. But the time of possession, they couldn't get off the
They
field.
were getting, they were 90-yard drives, 80-yard drives.
On the field all the time. And that combined, and then we saw them just fall apart in the fourth quarter of this game. But really, and then you combine that with the slow starts. I mean, every team gets, outside of the Dolphins didn't do much, if I remember correctly. I don't think they scored the first drive. Maybe they did. Maybe they got a field goal. But anyways, I know the Browns did. I know the Texans did. And the Bills and
well, they rotated the starters out after one series.
But my point
by the
is,
way.
and then here come the Colts, and they just march down and get 7 like it's nothing. Like we got a fast starter. We still have to start faster as a team.
We need to talk more about the defense too.
And how to get a stop when you need one.
And get a stop when you have to get a stop.
Absolutely. All right, Victory Monday. We finally got some stuff to talk about. Coming up in the second hour, we will go all over the details and highlights and some of the things they need to work on. Coming up on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, Power Boost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top-quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
It's more like sometimes when you make a big play, your mind go blank and your instincts take over. So those opportunities come upon like you don't know your instincts take over. So but afterwards, it come back to reality. And you get down, you see, I'm like, dang, I just scored. And you go out, I give my mom the ball, and it felt great.
Tank Bigsby had a day yesterday, 2 touchdowns, blacked out on that run apparently, but remembered to give the football to his mom, so that's always good. Welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour, second hour brought to you by Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, and during the game, it is a victorious happy hour today. Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco are with me. I'm Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrick, and we get to talk about a win for once. Now, a great day from Trevor Lawrence. We saw 2 touchdowns, that 1 interception, but 371 passing yards. He did a good job of hitting those throws. We kind of criticized him for missing the week before, corrected that. Jags defense blowing that lead, as we just discussed. The Jags were up by 2 touchdowns, and then all of a sudden they weren't. But they were able to get the win thanks to Cam Little with that huge field goal late. A sack to walk things off. The Jags are now 1-4. A win doesn't change everything, Tony, but it does make things a little more palatable when you go back to look at the tape.
A win changes everything.
Oh, it's everything.
Kai.
It's different.
I mean,
apologize.
Everything. Let me tell you what. The food tastes better. You're better looking. You like your partner better. Your kids are nicer. Like, the sky's bluer. Like, everything is better, and it solves everything. It's like, I always say, like, if you have a great gravy, it really doesn't matter what the meat is, because the gravy's so good, you just cover it up. And a win, and Coach Coughlin and I were talking about this at halftime. We were talking about, gosh, we need a win, And I looked at him and I said, it's a lot more fun, Coach, making corrections after a win. And he looked at me and smiled. He says, you stole that from me. I said, I know. Because it is. It just makes everything better. Now, does it mean that you're going to win the next one? No. Does it mean that you've solved every problem you have? Nope. But it makes everything better, and it makes things a lot more fun, and it should energize you, and you should want to go get better, and you should want to get back on that practice field, and you should want to watch film, and you should want to get ready for Chicago, because now you know what it tastes like and what it feels like. You remember, because it's been a long time. You remember what it feels like to win, and you want that feeling a lot more than you want the feeling from the first 4 weeks. So to me, winning cures all. And now it's what you do with it that really matters, because it cures everything.
It also saves the season. It saves the season. Yeah, at 0-5, you were dead.
It was
Quite
over.
simply, yes.
Yeah, so at 0-5, it saves the season. It gives you – and so from that perspective, you're 100% correct, Tony. It gives you life. And now you get on a plane to go to London, and you have life. If they didn't win that game, they go to London lifeless, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been a disaster, because Pete's right. You go to London now, and what your thought process is, it's always one game, but London's unique because you're leaving for 2 games. And so you naturally you kind of combine the two. And as if you're thinking about it, you're like, okay, we got 2 games, got to focus only on Chicago because that's all that matters. But we have a chance to fly back to Jacksonville in 10 days.
3-4.
3-4, and right in the thick of everything. Right in the middle of it. We're at home, got the Packers coming in. Boy, we could find our way to, doing something with the season after a terrible start. Now, you can't get too far ahead of yourself, because that's the danger. But London's unique, because it's like you're going to play 2 games somewhere like in a unique environment, one at Tottenham and one at Wembley. But boy, it feels, Pete's exactly right. You get on that plane, you're like, hey, all right, that's who we are. Because you can tell yourself, and you can tell yourself to be confident. You can tell yourself you can be good. You can tell yourself you can score points and do this and do that. But until you go do it, there's always that little voice in the back going, man, are we going to get over the hump? Why can't we finish? Pete's right. That voice starts whispering when things go wrong. Oh, here we go again. It's the worst voice. It's the voice you have to kill because you have no chance if you allow that voice to dominate. And now all of a sudden the voice is like, okay, yeah, that's who we are. Yep, that's who we are. And as an athlete, professional athlete, you can convince yourself
based off that alone
that's what you've been always. You forget the other four. What games are you talking about? I don't remember losing. Don't you see what we just did? And you build on that and get some confidence and get some juice in the building, get some juice in the locker room, and go do something special.
I know they'll all say we play it one game at a time, one play at a time, that whole spiel that every player gives you when they really look out and see what the schedule looks like. But if you look at, you talked about it, Tony, if they go and win 2 games, they're both winnable games, by the way. It's not like there's a dominant team they're going to play. The Bears are pretty good, but they're not a dominant team. They're not one of the elite of the league. So if you can win. The Bears
worry me, people. We'll keep going.
Yeah, because of their defense. Yeah. So if you win those 2 games and you come home and you get the Packers at home. Here's the Texans play the Patriots this week. I'm just throwing this out there. This is their schedule through October after next week.
Yep.
At Lambeau to play the Packers, which is much tougher to go to Lambeau than it is to play them at home. I don't care what you know that. Home against the Colts, they're not very good. At the Jets on a Sunday night.
They don't look very good right now. Keep going.
But they're pretty good on defense. though.
Yeah. Okay.
Then the Lions.
They're good.
At home. Then the Cowboys on the road on a Monday night.
Tough place.
So their schedule gets a lot tougher.
Their closed schedule is tough as well. Ravens, Chiefs.
So if they can figure it out, Jacksonville, in the next 2 weeks, and you can win those 2 games, you're in it. You'll be in it. But again, if they play like they did early in that game, they can win both those games. If they play like they did in the fourth quarter, they're not going to win either one of those games.
Well, and Pete, I agree.
They'll beat the Patriots.
Patriots aren't very good. But it's not like our schedule's easy when we get back for London, if we're looking ahead. You got the Packers at home, Eagles on the road.
Sunday Night Football,
which I think
that'll get flexed
out.
No, if you win the next 2, it might not.
Right.
Eagles, Vikings, only undefeated team at home. Tough. They're good. Up at the Lions, one of the best teams in the NFL.
And then the late bye, right?
And then we have a bye, but then we have the Texans coming here.
Yeah, it's not an easy schedule.
And then it lightens up after that. I mean, you close out with the Jets, the Raiders, who aren't very good, the Titans twice, and the Colts again.
But they close out. They have the Chiefs and the Ravens later in the season.
I agree with that.
Yep.
That's why. But I'm telling you, the next 7 games. Well, it really starts. The next 2 in London are critical. You got to go win those 2. Because if you come back, 2-5,
you're done.
It's not the same.
Well, you're 2-5. You're going to get flexed. That's a downer. Then you got Green Bay come in. You got the Vikings. You got to go to Detroit. You got to go to Philly. I mean, it gets hard. But I think these are the 2 most important. Every game's important. Pete's right. Players, coaches, we say one at a time. Blah blah blah. Which is right. That's how you have to approach it. But we're not players and we're not coaches, so we can step back and look at this. It's mandatory they come back 2-0. Winning both games in London. If you want to go do something this year, you have to come back 3-4.
If they don't, then we start talking draft.
Your favorite.
No, Pete, we've agreed on this show. We do not talk draft until we are eliminated from the playoffs.
You almost were starting a week ago. We were talking about the first overall pick.
Look how the tables have turned.
We were not talking about the first overall pick.
We weren't on here, but they were. If the draft were held, they would have had the first overall pick.
I wasn't talking about it, and we will not talk about it on this show. I have in my contract the ability to state what we will not talk about on the show, and we will not talk about the draft or free agency or any changes or anything else until we are eliminated from the playoffs.
All right.
Which I'm hoping will not be.
We talked about changes last week.
You did. I didn't.
Correct.
All right, let's talk a little bit about those London games. You guys mentioned Chicago. That's the first one up. What scares you the most about the defense? How can the Jaguars go about attacking that?
They got a good front four. They got good pass. They can pressure the quarterback.
Well, one really good pressure the quarterback guy in Sweat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's a good player. They are very disciplined. Eberflus is a very good coordinator. They do a good job in the back half. I haven't watched tape yet, but Eberflus is known kind of the cover two high safety guy, and a lot of different. He can do variations off that. It's a sound unit. They play fast. They play hard. They got talented players. They have one really good player in Sweat.
Well, two, because Jalen Johnson's a really good corner too.
I'm saying in the front. Sorry, and they got
a
really good corner. They're a talented, well coached defense.
Yeah. Their corners with Johnson, Stevenson, and Gordon, when they're playing at their best, that's as good a trio as there is in the league. As good as there is. So, and Stevenson probably hasn't played as well as I thought he would play this year. Johnson's the real deal, and Gordon's a heck of a nickel corner. So that group is talented. That group is really talented. So if you get pass rush with coverage, Tony, you know what that means. That's a problem.
I mean, so the point totals they've given up this year, and for a big part of this, with a not very good offense, an offense that could not get out of its own way early. In one of the games, they didn't score an offensive touchdown in one.
Yeah, the first one.
So they gave up 17 to Tennessee. They lost
not, by the way, isn't a very good offense.
They're not, but they lost to the Texans 19-13. Gave up 19 to the Texans. Gave up 21, lost 21-16 to the Colts. Gave up 18 to the Rams. And gave up 10 to the Carolina Panthers.
Okay, the 18 to the Rams was without Kupp and Puka Nacua.
I'm not saying that, but I also watched the Rams without those two guys put up some points against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that's true.
And
so the Bears are pretty darn good on defense.
I'm not saying it's the 85 Bears or anything, but that's a solid unit that you're going to – it's going to be one of the – I'll say this, Pete. It'll be one of the better units we've played so far this year.
Defensively correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
the quarterback is better.
He had a 128 rating with 310 yards or 301 yards, over 300 yards last week.
And with the way the secondary is here.
They ran the ball, which has helped him with, so they finally got Swift going a little bit.
Yep.
Which has helped him. So, yeah, their offensive line isn't great. I thought it would be better than it is.
It is not.
And that's something that Jacksonville could take advantage of. But you're right. When it comes to the defense, that's going to be a test for them. We'll see. We'll see if this offensive line really has made strides.
It's going to impede. I guess the other thing I would say about the offense and what I get concerned about, not concerned, is maybe concerned is until this last week, it's not like we were doing a great job of pressuring opposing quarterbacks. And at times, let's not kid ourselves, Flacco had a bunch of time back there and threw for 350 plus yards.
Correct.
And so, as much as we talk about how great Trayvon played, which he did, and how Josh has been effective all year pressuring, it's not like we're a consistent pressure team with four.
Well, there's no pressure in the middle at all. Let's be real.
And the one thing that I have seen, and I've not watched a ton of them, I've watched a little bit of it, but if you give Caleb Williams back there, give him time back there, he has weapons outside, and the kid can sling it and is unafraid
to do it.
To throw it.
Now he does hold it. He does hold it.
That's my point. He does hold it. But where has he struggled, Pete? When they get pressure, he starts running around like a crazy man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Doing stupid stuff. But if you can't pressure him, that's a problem. I mean,
we haven't talked about the interior pass rush, the non-existent interior pass rush. That's a problem. And what could you do to make it better, Tony?
Well, if you had more depth at defensive end, you could play Eric Armstead in the 3 technique more often.
And he played some inside.
He did, but he's also, I mean, the backup ends for us are Roy Robinson-Harris and Eric
him.
Armstead.
And they should be the interior pass rushers on passing down.
Like you watch some of the, like against sub at times, that's your 4-down rush with some combination of the other guys. So you have 4 defensive tackles out there rushing the quarterback. Let me tell you what that does not do. Put a lot of fear
into the quarterback,
into the opposing, because you know what you're getting. You're going to get power. You can sit on it. You're not worried about the speed.
And Armstead's not the same player. At end, he's not the same player he is inside. He just isn't.
No. And so one of the things you could do is go get some depth at defensive end so you could play Armstead and Walker in the middle more, because they're probably your 2 best pass rushers.
Is there anyone out there to go get right now?
No. So
no, there isn't. They never they didn't address it in the offseason.
And they got rid of Travis Gibson as well.
Rid of, to this day, I don't understand that. And I don't, maybe he was a bad guy. Maybe he was bad in the locker room. Maybe the coaches hate. I don't know. So I'm not, but I never understood the trade because
football-wise, you don't understand.
Because we didn't have anyone to replace him.
So
and
they could keep all the linemen.
And you got a 6-rounder for him. So I didn't understand that move, and the only backup true defensive end you kept was Cole, who hasn't been active since week 1. And Abdullah can play end and sub, but we haven't seen great pass rushes from him since he's been here. I think his natural position is much better at Sam, but he was hurt last week, so he didn't even play. So I don't know the answer. I really don't. But you got to pressure. You got to pressure quarterbacks in this league, and if you don't, they're going to tear you up.
And if you only pressure from the outside and there's no pressure on the inside, they'll just step up away from it. I mean, they got to have somebody push that pocket in the middle. Here's the other thing, and again, I'm going to go back to my pet peeve. First series on defense, get a first down, off they come. Let's bring the backups back in now. We'll get that. They jumped over the boards. They got in their hockey. They came over the boards, and it was their turn to play their line. I don't understand it. 3 plays, three plays, and they're off. What are they doing?
They're winded.
So they keep it fresh for the 4th quarter. Did you see how fresh they were late in the game?
Didn't work out that well, did it? All right, stay with us.
Real quick before we go, Pete. Question for you: how is DeMarcus Walker playing at the other end opposite Sweat?
Okay, not great.
I just haven't watched. I was just looking at their depth chart, and I didn't even know DeMarcus Walker had signed there.
All right,
he's a Gator.
Stay with us here on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. Coming back, we are going to keep it real about the offensive line.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Chelsea here. Another month and another high utility bill. Those old windows and doors might be the culprit, letting valuable energy escape. At Renewal by Anderson, our energy-efficient windows and doors have the latest advanced technology, keeping your home comfortable all year round. Renewal by Anderson has a limited-time offer. Buy 4 windows and/or patio doors and get the 5th one free. Plus, enjoy 0 money down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Some restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for all the details. License number CGC 1527613.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elase, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elase.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
You love free. And at Ameris Bank, so do we. That's why we're proud to offer worry-free, hassle-free Ameris Bank free checking. Manage your money your way with convenient access to digital, mobile, and telephone banking, all with no monthly service fee or minimum balance requirements. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. For more information or to open an account, visit our local bankers in person or online at amerisbank.com/free checking. Other fees such as overdraft fees may apply. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is the second week in a row, really, that our O-line has played good as a unit. You know, and listen, I mean, it's been the same 5 guys now, right? So when I say there's continuity, keeping those 5 together, there's continuity, and they start learning to play together, and that's what you're seeing. I think these last couple of weeks you're seeing that, and it was just a great game by those guys again today.
That was Doug Peterson talking about the offensive line, and I agree with him. 100% continuity. But here's my critique, and I'm going to follow up with something I've discussed on this show with Pete personally, with anyone who listened to me. This is why you should play your offensive line and have a bunch more during the preseason and in training camp. Because of what he just said. He's 100% right. The longer an offensive line plays together, it's a position you need to be in sync. You need to communicate. You need to learn how to play together. You need to get the pad level down. All things that takes reps to do. And so my pet peeve, not just with our team, with every team in this league, not every, because some teams do it differently. I would.
Most don't, though.
Most don't. So how Doug does it is probably the norm. Is I think that offensive line, I'm not saying everyone, I would practice them harder in training camp.
How much can you do that with the way practices are?
You can do it as much as you like. I mean, you can do it more than, that's not true.
With padded practices
because the
and
CBA,
just what is allowed. That's more the question.
But you should maximize
what you have. Okay.
And we don't.
Correct.
We do not.
We do not. You should maximize.
Most teams don't.
And you should maximize every padded practice you have during training camp. I would play all 5 of those guys if they're healthy. Obviously, we had some injuries this camp, so we couldn't. I would play them extended periods of time. And if guys are hurt, I say, okay, well, I'm not going to play maybe the starters as much this game. But when you're all healthy, you're playing a long time. Like half in a series in the second. I mean, why?
And if you work against another team, you're playing together.
You're playing together. And we are going to, and like, when we have a team here, both are going to be padded practices, not just one. Because you, as an offensive lineman, you get nothing. Actually, you get bad habits because you stand up and you don't finish and you don't do stuff. And so I agree with Doug. One of the reasons this group is playing together, they've stayed healthy for the first 5 games. They played together, and you can see them improving, especially over the last 2 weeks. Well, why? Because they're working together. They're getting more reps. They're getting pad level down. They're working better double teams. They're working to the next level. They're finishing better. That's all stuff that you should develop in camp in the preseason.
Well, and Tony, to your point, we're at week 5, right?
Yes.
The scoring started going up again this week.
Because people are blocking people.
League wide.
Because the preseason is the first 4 weeks now.
It's bad football.
It's terrible.
And I'm
going to use an example of a play, and I tweeted it out there. On Bigsby's run, You saw Cleveland and Morse had the double.
Great double.
And he got off of it.
Great double.
And got it to the linebacker, and there's the hole. Run up, touchdown. That takes work. You can't just simulate that with dummies. You know that, Tony.
And I thought on the other side, I thought Anton and Sheriff had some nice double teams working together. I thought it was like good football. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed it this morning. I mean, I was like, this is what it's supposed to look like. But it's no mystery why it doesn't.
Right.
Because they don't get enough rep. And what drives me crazy is everyone's afraid of injuries. Well, I don't want to get my guys hurt in the preseason or in camp or whatever.
Yeah, but playing bad for a quarter of your season is just as damaging.
But hold on. Why are there more injuries now than when I played and we beat the hell out of each other? Now, I'm not saying you should go back to what we did. Like, that was probably too far the other way. 2-a-days for 4 weeks. And, I mean, just I'm like, okay, I get it. I know. But I'll say this. You go turn on the tape, early season games, we were playing good football. We were playing at a level. You had to because everyone else was too.
And because you played in the preseason.
You played in the preseason. Our preseason, 2 to 3 series, preseason game 1. Quarter and a half to a half, depending on how it was going, preseason 2. Preseason 3, full half and at least 1 drive in the third quarter. Preseason 4, 10 plays.
Plus padded practices, a lot more than what we see now.
Double days. And when we went to a team for a day, it was an all-out brawl. It was physical. And so I get that. I'm not the old guy saying, hey, you got to go back and do it like that.
No, you can't do it like that anymore.
It's against the CBA rules. The union...
But even if they weren't, you still couldn't do it that way anymore.
I don't think you have to. I actually think 1 practice a day and getting after it for 4 weeks or 3.5 weeks, whatever it is, and playing these guys more in the preseason, I think you would have a huge advantage opening day because you would be further ahead progressing, playing more in sync together. Offensive line would be protecting and running the ball better, which gives your quarterback more time, and your skill guys get open and everything else. And you're back to have room. You beat up people. It just changes. And so Doug is 100% right. His whole point, man, I agree with him. We're seeing better play for one of the reasons because the continuity and them getting used to each other, understanding each other, getting better pad level, better footwork, better doubles, better pass protection because they're repping it. And they're doing it live. And they're going full speed. They don't do that enough on this team or most of the teams in the set,
around the league.
Around the league. And I don't buy, we're worried about guys getting hurt. We've been playing football forever. And by the way, like I don't remember outside of 2000, and it was the first padded practice of the camp when Leon Searcy tore his quad, where all 5 guys were not there, the starters were not there opening day. Now, did a guy miss a preseason game here or there or miss a practice or 2? Sure. But you were getting reps. And then guess what? Your backups were getting a lot of reps. And what were you doing? You were developing young offensive linemen. What are we lacking in this league today? We don't lack. We don't lack wide receivers. Plenty of guys who can run, catch, and do amazing things. We don't lack backs. We lack 2 positions in off. We don't lack tight ends, offensive linemen, and elite quarterbacks. There's not enough. I don't think you could have more than 32 teams because I don't know if there's enough offensive linemen. The way the college game is played today and the lack of practice they have at that level and the lack of coaching in some places are getting and the lack of understanding how an offense actually works and what fronts are and what, coverages and all the different things aren't taught anymore. And so now we're taking those guys to this level with limited practices, not enough time to develop them. And no wonder the result is just awful football in September because nobody can block anybody.
You know what, too, Tony? Think about this. with all the 7-on-7 camps that are out there now, we have some of the greatest receivers at 17, 18, 19, 20 years old you've ever seen. And so that position has mushroomed into something special. And the grunt position, the offensive line, has morphed into something that is dreadful. And you talk about depth. Go watch some of the XFL, UFL, whatever those teams are. You want to see bad offensive line play?
Pete, because
of your theory.
Why. I'm telling you. Because offensive line is a harder position to play than anything else besides quarterback. Because of what you're being asked to do and the athletes you're playing against, and it has to be in coordination across the line with everyone else, and you have to do things together, combo blocks, and you're backing up to protect somebody with a guy coming full speed at you. Like, the only way, like, at some level, you can just, like, is Brian Thomas Jr. a great route runner right now? No. Is he a great route runner? No. Was Jimmy Smith a great route runner in 1996?
No.
What they are. Now, Jimmy Smith became an outstanding route runner.
Right.
That's why
never went over the middle.
Why he's one of the best ever. And I believe Brian Thomas Jr. will become an outstanding route runner as he progresses and he gets reps. Why is he so effective as a rookie? Because he's a supreme athlete. He's just a better athlete. He can fly. He has good hands. He's, and I'm not saying, I'm sure he works hard all that. I'm not taking that away. As an offensive lineman, you can be the best athlete you want to be. If you don't have the technique and understand the position and how to work in coordination with another guy and pass and double teams and understand pass sets and angles and what a defensive lineman is trying to do to you and everything else. I'm not saying receiver's not technical. You have to learn how to get off the jam, all those things. But you only get that as an offensive lineman by reps. And you only get better by live reps. Because you end up getting some bad habits, especially in the run game, if it's not, because your pads get too high and it's not the same. Like, Pete's right, Pete, because you're right. Tony, last thing, and I'll let you go. Is you're right. 7-on-7, you can replicate a lot of stuff with no pads and get a lot of reps with low risk, no contact, and then that simulates very similar to what is going to happen on game day. You can't do that as an offensive lineman. It is impossible.
Nope. And here's the other thing real quick. Back in the day, you used to be able to take a tackle who couldn't be a tackle and develop him into a guard.
Zach Martin is a great example of that.
Zach Martin, I can go back to Marshall Yonda, on and on and on. Hey, Ben Coleman, who played next to you at guard, was once a tackle.
Yep.
Well, now it's so tough to do that because you don't have the developmental time.
You do not.
The hitting, it's different. So when you say, okay, I used to always look for guys when I used to look my analysis say, well, he's not good enough to play tackle, but boy, you could move him inside and make him a guard. That's hard to do now because you don't have the developmental time to do it. You're not hitting. You're not hitting anybody.
And I'll end it with this. I know we got to go to break. I understand Doug's hesitancy because to do what I'm saying is going against the grain. And if somebody does get hurt,
it's on you.
The finger is going to get pointed. And so it's not just the head coach who has to have that philosophy. It has to be the whole organization. That this is what we believe. And I'm not just talking about the Jaguars. I'm talking league-wide. And so I get why coaches are like, because if I put my starter out there and he gets hurt, everyone's going to say, why are you playing him in the preseason? Well, the simple answer is that's how you play football, and that's how you get better at things.
But if that was the norm, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
That's my point. It wasn't a big deal when I played because that's how everyone did it.
Right.
And I think it's an opportunity for somebody in this league, and I know some teams that do it.
Not a lot, though.
I know a couple. But I think it's an opportunity for a team in this league saying, at least for the big guys, we are going to practice and we are going to be physical and they're going to play because opening day, we are going to be ready to roll. And I just don't think teams are. And I think And I'd love to do every year we talk about this at some point on this show. And I always threaten to do this, and I never do it. It'd be great to do, like, go look, and I'm sure there's studies out there, the injuries that happened in today's game compared to when camp and preparation was different. Because there's a lot of injuries still.
Tissue injuries, more tissue injuries.
A lot of soft tissue.
They train year-round.
I don't know what it is, but I'd like to look at it because I know one thing. I can turn on the tape, and for first part of the season, September, a lot of bad football and a lot of offensive line play that's not very good.
Kai needs to wave the paper like JB does to shut you up so she goes
sorry,
Kai.
All right, they kept it real on the offensive line. Coming back, we're going to do our Fanatic fan questions here on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with Everbank. Open an Everbank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. Everbank, Advantage You. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Flight by Yuengling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yuengling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yuengling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yuengling and Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Kind of been our season so far, that game today, and in moments when we needed it the most, guys stepped up and we were able to fight through that adversity. So it just, builds confidence, that in moments that we need it, we have the guys, we have the people, we have the team that can step up and do it. And so we just got to, keep it rolling, use this momentum to, take it over to London and keep accumulating wins.
Welcome back into Jags AM here. Jaguars Happy Hour. I'm doing too many shows today. Jaguars Happy Hour here, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. We did see some fight back from this team. A lot of things had not been going their way earlier this season, and they weren't able to bounce back. They did just that, getting their first win of the year in the throwback uniforms, looking stylish.
How about those jerseys, Kai?
So I feel I'm unbiased because I was not around when they were here. They just look better. Are they green? Are they brighter? Are they green? The color is better.
More teal.
The more teal. The teal itself is better, and then the siding,
better.
the ribbing,
the logo and the ribbing and all that.
Yeah, it's
much better looking uniform.
Oh,
I know every fan base wants their throwbacks, but this is justified. They are entirely
and by the
better.
way, Trevor wore black shoes. Did you notice that?
I did not.
I did not.
I didn't pick that
Yeah.
up.
He looked much better in black shoes, so maybe you should wear them again.
Lucky shoes.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm with you, Kai. And I'm biased because those are the jerseys I played in. But
they
I
look
thought they looked
markedly
clean.
better. Markedly better.
And I'm just going on the record now and say I like our home jerseys being teal jerseys, white pants.
I don't think we wear teal enough.
I like
personally.
teal jerseys, white pants, and on the road I like the white jerseys with white pants. I just like.
That's what you used to wear.
That's what we did. In September at home, if it was hot, we'd wear the white jerseys and make them wear the dark jerseys. But I just thought, because it kind of gives you an identity of who you are too. It's like this is who we are. This is what we wear.
The funny thing is, back in the day, I thought that uniform was kind of and now compared to what they've been wearing, I think it's 10 times better.
So much better.
Well, but here's the thing: I'm in the minority because this is the old guy talking. Because I think the young guys like the different combinations and different looks, and the all black sometimes. I am too. That's just me.
Too.
So I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but my opinion.
Arizona Cardinals all whites used to be a great uniform.
Oh, it's great.
All right, guys, let's do some Fanatics fan questions. Jaguars fans, you can gear up at Fanatics.com with all the latest Jag styles. Shop now. Get today's special offer at Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything. Pete, this one's for you because I know you're going to love it. Did Tank give you Fred Taylor MJD vibes yesterday, breaking through those tackles?
He did. He ran physical, but did he give me vibes of those guys? Absolutely not. No way. No. I mean, look, compare him.
It's a high bar. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're comparing him to technically he's a backup running back right now, and you're comparing him to the best running back ever on that team, a guy who should be Canton, and a special guy who's the number 2 ranked running back in the franchise. So it's way too early for that. So the answer to the question is no and no.
I would agree with Pete on everything, but I'll say this. I would like to see what he looks like if he got the ball 20 times a game.
Should he be your starter?
I think the starter is more situational of kind of what
you think he should lead the team in carries every week.
I think he should have more carries than anyone else. Now, if you get in a situation where Travis is hot, and I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with riding the hot hand. I think there's probably plays that Travis does better than Tank. I think we have the luxury of having 2 very good backs. That's a luxury. But if you're asking me who I would make the workhorse, I would make Tank the workhorse.
Should they make it like the Ravens use Justice Hill and Derrick Henry?
I think that's a good comparison. That's a good example there, Pete. I didn't think of that, but yes.
All right, let's do a couple of questions about the defense. We talked about the secondary, the issues with that comeback in the fourth quarter. What's your level of concern with the secondary, specifically the safety positions?
It's got to be pretty high right now because we're seeing some busts, and some tackling a little bit.
Tackling issues, yeah.
And so
terrible.
I got concerns. Terrible. And I mean,
let me say this about the 2 safeties. I thought both of them would take major steps forward this year, and they've actually gone in the other direction. And it's weird for Cisco because he's in a contract year. That one surprised me a little bit. He hasn't played very well. Antonio Johnson looks like at times he doesn't even want to tackle anybody. So when this is going to sound crazy, but Tony, when Tashawn Gibson comes back and Wingard comes back, they might play.
Should they start?
I wouldn't go that far yet. We haven't seen either of them. You don't know how Dewey's knee is going to be.
Or when he will actually
be back. And Tashawn Gibson's on a 6-game suspension, so you don't know what he's going to look like when he gets back. There is concern.
They've been they've been the biggest disappointment in the entire team in terms of defense, is the fact that those two have not played very well.
I think that's fair. I think a couple bright spots. Monteric Brown, now he got beat over the top late on the
But
Pierce.
overall, his play.
Overall, physical.
Yes.
He's not a big dude, and he plays big. And
he's feisty in coverage.
He's
not scared.
He's very competitive.
Yes.
I'm like really like I was worried about our corner depth, and then Tyson Campbell got hurt. I was like, oh no, I was wrong, flat wrong. Monteric Brown playing good football, and the other real positive, and I'm going to be really interested to see what they do coming up here pretty quickly, is Vontrell Miller. I don't know when Foye comes back. How do you have Vontrell on the sideline? Like, he's your best linebacker right now.
Well, the way they sub, I'm sure they'll find a way. But
I don't know how he's not on the field every down.
The hockey team will find a way to get him 25 snaps.
But Pete, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a tackling machine. When he hits you, you stop.
Makes splash plays.
He gives them life.
Now his
coverage needs to improve. I agree with that, Pete.
But when he covered the one guy in man-to-man coverage, he went out and made a play on him.
And
remember?
His speed shuts down stuff in the flat. He gets there really quickly.
He's got to stay on the field, no matter what. He has to stay on the field.
All right.
Then you have to admit a mistake.
Which one?
Here we go. Keep going, Kai. Don't bite. Don't bite. Don't bite. Don't
All
bite.
right. We're gonna do our final. I'm gonna skip one. We're gonna do our final fan question. Do the boys get it done and come back from London 3-4?
I'll let Pete go first.
I'm going to say they do.
All right, Tony.
Well, they're definitely going to get one because they'll beat New England, and I think they'll beat the Bears. I'm not crazy of the Bears like some people are. I still think the quarterback's got issues. I think the offensive line's got issues. I think they'll find a way to win it.
I'm going to say, not only do I think they're going to come back 3-4, I'm going to lock.
Are we going to get a double?
3-4. And I'm not going to allow Pete to lock it.
No, are we going to double lock it?
Double lock it.
No, he's not, because last time we double locked it was a disaster.
Well, it's triple lock.
Yeah.
No, triple lock's been really negative. Although you've never locked.
You can lock. A JP triple lock might be bad. Kai triple lock might be great.
You can do the double lock.
You can do a double. I'm comfortable doing a double lock with you.
Okay.
I'm not with Pete or JP.
Oh, I'm not in.
All right, double lock it.
Double lock it. Kai with the lock. I'm in. Let's go.
Monday happy hour, first of the year.
So when they come back from London and they don't get either one of them, we'll start talking about the draft.
And JP will be back. He can deal with it then, so it's fine.
Dude, the beautiful thing is Kai has no accountability on this thing because when we come back, Kai's be like, what?
I don't think JP's
what
gonna
show?
Be back for the one after London, is he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're going to have to own it. You're going to have to wear it.
I'm going to have to be here if we
have to wear it, Kai. Let's go.
Yep.
Come on. It's not going to go poorly. We're going to do it.
No, it's going to be great.
We got it. 2 wins. I love it.
All right, stay with us here on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's coming back. We'll talk about what else is going on in the NFL.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinders' 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit DFHSalesEvent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's DFHSalesEvent.com.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Calling all loyal Jags fans and loyal Gate customers, football is back. And you and 3 friends could win a chance to meet Trevor Lawrence. Entering is easy. Just buy any 5 28-ounce Gatorade or Gatorade Zero products at Gate with your MyGate Rewards app, and you'll be automatically entered. Not a MyGate Rewards member? Download the app and sign up today. See store for details. Alternate entry available at GatoradePromos.com/TLaw.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more, or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
And then CBS said early in the game that you and Gabe kind of got into it, and you maybe even threw a tablet. Was there an exchange over there on the sideline?
Sat it down firmly. No. Yeah, we were.
Set it down roughly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Loosely. Yeah, I mean, it happens in this game. I mean, people that have played it know. People that haven't probably don't really understand all the emotions that go into it. And there was some frustration. We had a little back and forth and cleared it up. That's all it is. I think that's what stuff like that's important. And I love when stuff like that happens. You confront issues, and hey, if I'm pissed about something, he's pissed about something, let's talk about it and move on. And we did a great job of that. Gabe's always good at communicating, so got on the same page quick, and it was good.
Back here on Happy Hour, quarterback Trevor Lawrence addressing the reports on the broadcast about him and Gabe Davis getting into it on the sideline. Tony said sometimes you get into it, and then we're all friends now again.
It's a non-story. What Trevor said is exactly right. Anybody who's played the game, coached the game, or covered the game closely, it's a non-issue. I mean, I've been involved in heated discussions with players and a lot of time coaches in the heat of the battle. Why? Because it matters. It's important. You're competitive. You can be frustrated. You want things going better, whatever it is. And I think emotion's good. And I always laugh at, sometimes the media does this, sometimes our fans do this, is you hear them say, we want players to care and have emotion and be all in. And then something where emotion, I might have gotten a couple personal fouls when I played. Or you get in a fight, or it blows up on the sideline. And everyone's like, oh, you can't do that. You have to have more self-control. I'm like, listen, what do you want? This is an emotional game, and guys put a lot into it. And by the way, we're laying our bodies on the line. You're risking your health, and you care. Yes, you get paid a lot of money, but it's important to you. And when you have emotion and you're all in on something and it's not going the way you want, sometimes tempers are going to flare and things are going to be said. And I don't even get into what happens in the locker room on the practice field sometime. That's okay. Now, it's not okay if it bubbles over and it carries over and it becomes personal. It causes a wedge in the locker room, which obviously it has not. But in the heat of the moment, you let your emotion out. You get it out, you deal with it, and you move on, and your teammates and your, friends and your, working peers and all the things that go into it, and you move on and go into the next thing. That's part of it, and that's part of playing the game with emotion.
It's not a big deal. It's never a big deal. But here's what I would like to know, and I don't know if anybody asked the question. What was it about?
This was after the third down where he was wide open, and they went to Brenton Strange on the short on the sticks, and then they didn't get the fourth. This was right after that. possession.
Yeah, so he didn't. And,
It was
and
before
the
the
play is
other.
early in the game. He's got him on the second level, and he throws to the left side for a short completion on third down that set him up in 4th and 1. That's
Assume
what
he
he's
wanted the ball.
complaining.
I would assume he
Well,
wanted the
okay,
ball.
and in fairness, he was open, and in fairness to Trevor, it ain't exactly like Gabe Davis, was a bullet getting to get there either.
Well,
So-
I'll just say this. I mean, first of all, this is what receivers do.
You want them to want the ball.
And
Well, you know who he learned from? You know who he learned from, don't you?
Well, but Pete, I'm not going to touch Gabe Davis right now. I'm going to go back to when you covered the team. Did you ever hear Keenan, who was never not open, say anything?
Hey, look,
Some
John
are
Osher
always
and myself will swear to this day, and I told Keenan this to his face. And Keenan's a wide receiver coach now, and he's a good one, by the
maybe
way.
the best one of the best in the league.
And I used to tell him Keenan was happier when he caught 11 for 170 and a touchdown than he was when he caught 2 for 14 and they won. If they lost, he'd take his 11 in a loss than the 2 in the win any
That's
day
not
of the week.
true. Keenan was one of the
That
best.
is true.
No, it's not. Keenan was one of the best teammates I've ever had. But
I love
Keenan and Jimmy, they wanted the ball.
the ball.
And
Why do you
listen,
think when he went to Tampa it was Meenan and Michon?
and I'll say as an offensive lineman, I've had it out with quarterbacks.
Of course.
Get rid of it. Throw it. What are you doing back there? And they're yelling at us.
Why you let me
Protect.
get
Give me
hit?
time. Why are you getting me hit? I mean, it's emotional out there. So it's a non-story. Now, where
It is a non-story.
where it becomes a story, and we've seen this in the league, if either one of the parties carries it over into the locker room and it goes on for days and weeks, that's when it becomes because now you have to have other people in the locker room asking questions. What's going on? Is there a divide?
Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen, it became an issue.
It became an issue. But if you just deal with it, like
Squash
Trevor
it.
said, you squash it, you deal with it, emotion, okay, we're good. Let's move on.
Non-factor.
It's non-factor. It's not a big deal.
All right. For 11 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official dream home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all of the available inventory and go Jags. Just a couple of minutes left to go. Pete, what was the best game you watched this weekend?
Ravens
Besides ours,
and
of
Bengals.
course. Ravens and Bengals.
It was fantastic. Up and down the field they went, and they go to overtime, and the Ravens give the ball away in overtime on a botched snap, and the Bengals play for their long field goal. By the way, they didn't play to get any more yards, and the holder dropped the snap. And next play, they miss it. Derrick Henry goes 60 yards. They make a field goal point blank and win the game. Now the Bengals are sitting there at 1-4. Great game though. Joe Burrow 5 touchdown passes.
I thought Burrow's comment I read, I didn't hear it, basically saying we are not a championship football team right now.
They're 1-4. It's true.
And he doesn't. And he says not that they can't be. It's just right now they're not.
Yeah, right
Their
now.
defense is awful.
And I read something, and maybe this was on X, so maybe this is just non-true. Pete, you'd know, or you have a sense, that T. Higgins might be available at the trade deadline because of some friction or something going on there.
Well, he has, and plus he has he wants a new contract. They haven't given it to him.
They haven't paid him or Chase.
Yeah, they better pay Chase.
He's not very good, is he?
Oh my God.
That's what I heard.
I think Brian Thomas is on his way to being that kind of player, though.
Those LSU wide receivers.
I mean, how did LSU ever lose? Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, the neighbors.
Well, was Joe Burrow throwing to Justin? Think about this: was Joe Burrow throwing to Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, and it was Jaden Daniels throwing to Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors.
How'd they ever lose?
Got to play defense a little, I guess.
I guess.
Well, Joe Burrow did lose. Remember, they won the national
That's true.
championship.
He never did. But how did Jaden Daniels ever lose a game?
Texans beat the Bills as well, which is not great for us in the division. But what's up with the Bills? I feel
and
like
that was Josh Allen the receivers were bad. He wasn't good, and they still found themselves with the ball down on the point blank range, down 3, and they couldn't get in after Stroud fumbled. They couldn't get a touchdown, and then they played it at the end of the game. They got the ball back with like 30 seconds and threw 3 passes, and they allowed them. And then they punted. And they had a timeout, and they let them go kick the field goal. Terrible game management.
And Josh Allen got beat up, Pete. Looked like he got
But the Texans haven't been as good as I thought they would be, just yet.
Just yet.
Well, they are 4-1. They got a nice little lead.
I know, but they played a lot. Think about it. Jacksonville probably should have beat them. Could have lost yesterday.
The Bears took him to the mat to the end.
Right. They haven't. I thought this was going to be a year where they became dynamic on offense, and it hasn't worked out that way.
And the Colts took him to the end too.
Yeah.
They've won a lot of close games. Give them credit.
Yeah.
The Cowboys won it at 1 a.m. So over the Steelers.
That was amazing.
Did you
That
stay up
rain-
for that, Pete?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, not me. I'm too old. I went to sleep.
Catch it in the morning. All right, guys. You have any? I don't have full time because we're running late on time. You got a Monday Night Football pick? Saints and Chiefs. Chiefs again.
Chiefs.
Chiefs they have some weapon issues. I mean, the question is who's gonna step up.
They'll get the ball to Worthy a bunch of different ways. And one more thing, Derek Carr struggles he's 1-5 against Steve Spagnuolo. You know why, Tony? Because they blitzed the hell out of him. He doesn't like it.
Yep.
Blitz. Taylor Swift going to be in the building. Chiefs probably go to 5-0.
That means my daughter will be watching.
As she should.
She's a big Swiftie.
As she should. All right. Victory Monday, happy hour. Thank you for joining us. Kainani Stevens, JP Shadrick will be back with these guys next week. Enjoy it.